Hey guys, what's going on? Chris here with another video for you. So I just did the digital readout on my lathe here. Let me position you where you can see what I'm talking about. This was actually way more of a job than I anticipated. I didn't think that I was going to have to modify so many things and customize so many things to make it work, but I did. And from what I understand from everything else I've found on YouTube, which none of it really applied to me, but I think this is one of those things where, I don't know, hopefully mine will apply to somebody, because I have a pretty decent lathe, and I bought like an Amazon, you know, Chinese DRO, because I mean, as long as it's accurate, it doesn't really matter where, you know, who made it. I didn't need an expensive, crazy thing for the lathe. I just needed not to use micrometers and calipers and dial indicators every time I used the lathe. So that's what I did, and that's why I did it. But if anybody else out there, you know, wants to do the same thing and do it inexpensively, which is you know, obviously the main reason people buy stuff like that, because you always get better quality coming from America when you can afford it. But honestly, this was just an item that wasn't as important to me. You know, I mean, the lathe itself, I spent the money on. So this is the same company as Grizzly. It's an American company. So it's a good lathe. But the DRO, honestly, had I thought about it, I probably would have got it on the lathe when I ordered it, but I didn't, so I didn't. So here I am, and I got it now. But I wish I had gotten it pre-installed after getting it. I didn't think much of it because you have the dials on the handles, but really you're not paying attention to those ever, and you never know how many rotations you've done and so on and so forth. Anybody that has a lathe, I'm sure you're probably already way past that. Or if you're just getting into it, then this might do you some good. But just don't bother with those. The only one that matters is the one right here on the this one here. That's the only one that really matters. That's when you're doing threads. That's how you need to know this number, where it is on here, like when you engage. You know, so like if it's on, I'll show you. Oh, hold on. No, that's my fault. All this stuff I've been doing, this was disengaged. So I have to loosen that and then tighten it up again. But anyways, so what I did is I did the cross slide first, which was definitely the hardest part. And from what I had found on the videos that I did see, I saw that same thing, that it was the hardest part. And in fact, it definitely is. So I can definitely reconfirm that again. The part that I was wondering about when I ordered it, and am still wondering about because it doesn't seem to be resolved. So the tool head goes here. Where is it? Where did I put? Oh. So this goes right here, right? And then this is the cross slide, which is where it is. So you see the digital readout up here. Yeah, you guys can see it. Well, I guess it's swinging that way a little bit, but I'm gonna have it over the other side anyways. So this is gonna read, right? Which is great, and that's a measurement I don't have to take, but it's not gonna read this. You see, and I honestly, while I'm machining, I usually use this more because it's a finer adjustment. Like this is moving this whole bottom cross slide, which is much bigger, as well as the top one on top of it, and the miter and the tool head, where this is just moving this top section and the tool head, none of that other stuff. So it's much easier to turn. And this isn't hard to turn by any means. I lubricate it frequently and properly, but it's just another thing that I had. I was wondering how that was going to be measured, and the answer is it's not going to be measured. So none of the videos that I watched answered that question. So I'm going to just answer it right now. It doesn't measure that. It measures one or the other. So I first set it up to measure this. And I realized that I'm only getting 4 inches out of that, where I have 10 inches of travel. I don't know where it all is, because I'm only getting 4.5, almost 5 on the bottom, and like 4 on the top. So I think I don't know. It's supposed to be 10 inches, but I don't think I have 10 inches. And then it's 28 wide, I think. So the rail in the back, I ordered it too big, thinking I could cut it down. You can't really cut it down because it's glass inside. So I just mounted it oversized. And what I'm going to do is, I did see one video where a guy actually cut it with the glass in it on a bandsaw. And to me, it worked. I guess he did like foam insulation. He like spray foam, and spray foamed it inside on the glass, like before the cut or in the cut, so it wouldn't affect the glass around it, which makes sense. I mean, that in theory would work. I don't know if I want to try it, but in theory it would work. I mean, it's working now. The only thing is that this chip guard in the back, I don't know how I'm going to mount it with this axis is going to go back into it when I move it forward. But anyways, so what I did is I used, let me turn this the screen around so I can see what I'm showing you. I used some washers as spacers right here, so I could space it out far enough to make room for the 3 little tensioning screws that are in there that tighten down. There's like a pin inside those that push against your I forget what the name of that is. The metal piece that's angle cut that goes alongside your slide here. I forget what it's called. I know the name of it. I can't think of it right now. Anyways, those pins that push that in, you got to have that. You can't obviously be pushing against it. So I spaced it out enough to get it away from that, and then over here, I spaced down the sensor part a little bit. I spaced that out a little bit because the cast iron out, you can see right here in the crack that it's a little further out. So I just put like 2 washers there to level that out. But it turned out really good. It actually is nice and even. And when I didn't even take the brackets, these things come on it, and you're not supposed to take them off until it's exactly where it's going to be, because that's exactly how far apart it's going to be. And when I took them off, nothing moved. It was already all secured. So it's exactly the way they sent it. That's why it's not, nothing malfunctioned at all. So that it's a good way to do it like that. It just keep the sensor on the way it came with the protective bracket, or the little spacer that they sent with it, so that you know that you're putting it in the right place with the right space. I found it to be an easier way to do it, even though the job was challenging. I mean, not challenging. It wasn't actually challenging. It's just I expected it to be an easy job. I don't know why. I just, looking at it, thought it would be, and it wasn't. So it took a lot of time. It's like 3 in the morning right now, and I've been working on it for I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours, because I had the machines and parts. You'll see soon. I had to do all this stuff, but this is the second way I set it up. I did the top part first, so that when I moved this, it would measure that, which now it doesn't. So I'm gonna have to use this to get to where I want to be, and then for the changes in how deep I'm cutting, I'll have to use that. Which, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit to make it a little easier, because for obvious reasons, with so much less to move, this one's easier. But I'm gonna make some adjustments to make that one a little easier. But it's kind of hard, because if I adjust it too much, it won't be as tight as it needs to be. Anyways, so for the x-axis, that's the y. Actually, it depends on which way you're standing, kind of. Anyways, I'm thinking of it like on the CNC, and I don't have a Z because I'm not coming down. I guess this is my Z, this going up and down. So when I loosen, well, nothing's tightened up yet. Hold on. When I loosen this, this is just a quick tool post, and slide this off. This sliding up and down would probably be my Z. And you can set how high that goes by this. So I guess there could be a sensor measuring how high up that was. But other than that, I don't see a Z axis. So X is going to be this way, and Y is going to be this way. So anyways, that's just a reason that's just a reason I know that is because, you know, the longer one is going to be your Y and the shorter one is going to be your X. Anyways, so the length that I mentioned, that's why that's still detached. I probably would have put that part on. Well, maybe not, because I didn't tighten up the wires yet. But anyways, it's too long, so I'm just going to have to figure out whether I'm going to make a bracket to mount that a little further out, or I'm going to figure out a way to cut it. Because I don't need the whole length, that's for sure. I got a 10-inch because this is 10 inches, and this is what was that? That must be 30 inch, or it must be 30-inch travel, because there's probably about 8 inches hanging off. And if this is 28, but you don't get the full length of travel, it starts kind of like, I don't have the full amount here anyways with the tool head, I mean the spindle. So the spindle and the chuck, obviously the chuck takes up a lot of space. So the farthest I can go that I'm actually cutting is down here, which ever since somebody mentioned to me, it was actually in a YouTube video, that they do their machining all in positive. So they set their home point as 0, or their starting point, and they work in positive from there, which I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give that a shot. I think I would like that, because going from negative to positive, and if you go too far into your negative and you end up positive, it just complicates things more. That it's just one thing that you can easily do that makes it a little easier. I've found that he was right. So anyways, the point of that was that's how I did this. I zeroed this out, but which wasn't actually zero because I didn't have the top part on, so I wasn't quite sure where I was, but I guessed, and I was 152 thousandths off. Yeah, about 152 thousandths off. But anyways, I'm going to zero it there. I'm going to tighten everything up, and then I'll zero it, and I'll clean up the wires and go home and go to bed. But I just wanted to, I should have done a video while I was doing it, but honestly, I was trying to figure it out as I was doing it and watching other videos. So it's not something I'm experienced in like that. So I didn't want to do a how-to video on something I'm not really that experienced in myself. But I did want to do a video just showing you guys how I ended up doing it, and hopefully help you out that way. The brackets that they sent with it, I did end up using in the back. I didn't use any of their hardware up here, but back here I did. These are the brackets that came with it. You see right there. So on this side, you see what I had to do there? So this, all the other stuff worked out perfect in the back. Like this part, I just drilled and tapped holes, and I used number 8 bolts. And the same thing, let's see, I used M5, I don't know exactly how long they were, but M5, it'll be different for everybody anyway. They were M5 number 8, regular socket head bolts. And that's the same thing I tightened it down to this bracket with. And this bracket is secured in with 2 more of the same that I also just drilled and tapped those holes. And the same thing on the other side. The only difference is that it didn't have a bracket to secure it down with. So what I did is I took the smaller bracket that came probably for the other axis, and I used that to pinch it up against the machine with a couple of pieces of real hard steel that I had laying around, and I put those in between it so that it could pinch the you know, it's pinched up to the, against the machine. So the bracket in the back is tightened down with number 8 bolts, and those are pinching it. That bracket is pinching the scale up against those metal brackets the same space as it is over here. So it makes it even, and I put the digital level on it. It was right at 0, so it was actually perfectly level. Oh, I'm hitting the rubber thing, that's why. Now I'm 0.8 off. No, it's hitting the rubber thing on it. The rubber thing is actually very good that it's there, because it doesn't allow chips into it. And they did send a chip guard with it right here. But I don't have, with my configuration and the way I mounted it, I don't have a way to use this, unfortunately, because I actually would use it. But I can't, because there's nowhere to mount it without getting in the way of, this is not working out. I'm trying to get you guys a little higher. All right. Well, maybe like this. No, like this tripod is just not high enough. All right, here we go. I'll just do this. There we go. Okay. So you're not any higher. You're just tilted the right way. So they sent this for a chip guard, which I can't use because it'll come between the sensor and the scale. But it's a good idea in theory if it would work. But there's no way for me to do it in this configuration. But in a different configuration, it probably would work. But they send them, and why I'm glad that they have those rubber grommets in there, and they really overlap each other well. So this is aluminum down here. They actually overlap each other very well, so that it doesn't allow anything in there. So when this thing is going back and forth, it's just spreading those two rubber, like a weather strip almost. It's very similar to a rubber weather strip. So it's moving them out of the way apart as it goes back and forth, and it doesn't allow the chips in there, which is really good, because I don't have a way to guard it unless I manufacture another way, which I probably, I don't even know. I would have to make something that came up and over this way, and it would have to go over this also, the sensor also. And it's just, and then I have this thing in the way. It's just not worth doing unless I really had to do it. And I don't really have to do it because of those weather strips or whatever you want to call them. So anyways, I'm looking forward to being able to do things this much easier. I actually met somebody on YouTube that I'm going to be machining a suppressor insert in aluminum for. This guy named Tyler. We talked for like hours on the phone the other day. We have a ton of things, crazy amount of stuff in common, and a lot of the same hobbies. And he's a really cool guy. So we talked for a while, and I'm gonna make him a barrel and a suppressor like I did with mine, which I do custom stuff like that. If you guys are ever interested in having somebody do stuff like that. And then I CNC machine it if you guys haven't seen any of my other videos. Anyways, I'm going to try to do some more videos on CNC machining and on turning, because I've been doing a lot more of it myself. And this is something I'm really passionate about, is metal working, welding, working on the lathe, turning metal, milling metal. It's something I definitely have a real passion for. So I want to do more videos about it because it's something I really enjoy doing. The only thing is, when I'm doing it, I'm really focused. That's why I don't generally do too many videos about it, because I'm like focusing on what I'm doing, but I'm trying to do more of it. The 3D printing, I'm focused on it when I'm on the computer doing that part, but the 3D printers just do their own thing. Once you send it, you just wait for it to be done. Other than, getting it to adhere and all the other stuff. But machining is different. You need to pay a lot more attention. So anyways, that's why I do more videos about other stuff like that, and other hobbies. And the drones, I just have so many drone projects that are not done. The only drone that I have that's functional right now, because it's not under, you know, in the middle of an operation is my Mavic 3 Sin. That's an awesome drone. It's fun to fly. It goes high as hell, far as hell. I can fly 3,200 feet up and like a 10-mile range. And the furthest I've ever gotten is like, I think like 14,000 feet away, which was 5,000, no, I'm sorry, it was 35,000 feet away. 35,000 feet is going to be it was 7 miles. Yeah, I got 7 miles away, and I only had to turn back because of the battery was dying. And this was at Niagara Falls. I don't know why I had really good range there. Well, actually, I do know why, because I modified the RC Pro from DJI and put in I put the Alien Tech powered antenna on it, and that gives you a tremendous amount more range. Anyways, this isn't a drone video. I haven't made any drone videos, but I'm just talking about hobbies that I'm passionate about. That's one other one, because that's something, the guy I was telling you about just now, he has his own plane and can fly anytime he wants, anywhere he wants. I think that's so cool. I could do it. I mean, I could go get a pilot's license and you know, buy a plane and like use it to fly people or whatever. But I just have too much stuff going on. I can't even get to everything I already have going on. I wish, you know, life is too short to try to do every single thing you want to do, because it's too, you'll never enjoy any of it because you're running from one thing to the next. And I have to be better about that myself. I shouldn't even be giving that advice because I'm not even taking it. Anyways, I'm going to try to be better about that. But I hope you guys got something out of this other than my hobbies. Sorry about the rant. I'm really trying to just, I had trouble finding a video that explained this, you know, in a generic kind of way, because it doesn't apply to, I don't have the same lathe as any other videos I watched. They don't have the same lathe as me, obviously, and probably you guys that have a lathe don't have the same one as me, unless rarely one person does. But I mean, this, either they're much bigger than mine, or they're about the same size but a different manufacturer, or they're like really old Bridgeports that are really nice, or huge ones. Those are like really top-notch machines. But this is Grizzly, or it's actually Shop Fox, but Grizzly owns them now. So they're this, like, they did my warranty stuff. So it's been a great lathe. It's really powerful. This is only a 5-inch chuck, but I have a 7-inch 4-jaw and an 8-inch 3-jaw self-centering as well, and it turns the 8-inch chuck no problem. I mean, it spins. I mean, it doesn't seem to spin any different than this one does, which is consistently, you know, and it doesn't bog down at all. It's got a ton of power, and it's a belt drive, so belt drive is always good. I mean, even my air compressors are belt drive. My drill press is belt drive. Anything with real power, you kind of want belt drive. So you can change the motor. You get, like this, my drill press, the other one I was having problems with. I went to Home Depot and bought a $200 Ryobi because the motor I took out before I even put it on the bench, and I put my big ass 2-horsepower motor, and I put that 1/3 horsepower, whatever it was, on a shelf somewhere in case I need it for something productive, which this wouldn't be it. But anyways, this actually has more functionality than my other one did. Now I have a laser that shows where the bit's gonna go, which I don't know if you can see, but here, let's see. Can you see it? I hate when I do that. I flip the screen and hit the end button. Anyways, yeah, there's the laser, and here's my pneumatic lubricant that blows out lubricant, which I put on the lathe too. And then I have a light right here so I can see better while I'm doing it, and it runs nice and smooth with this. So the other one was not running like that anymore, and I had done everything I could up in here to get it to run smooth, and I just couldn't get it to run smooth. It was really old. It was my great grandfather's. So anyways, this is what the video was about, is the digital readout. And hopefully, even though I didn't talk about it as much as I was intending to, because I'm probably overtired, but this is how I mounted this with the spacers between the between the tool post here and the sensor, which is mounted to the carriage where the tool post is. So it's right in between there, and then this is mounted to the bottom with a little bit less space. You just have to measure. It's just like anything else with machining. It's all precision. Just measure twice and do things once. Measure twice, cut once. Measure twice, drill once. Measure twice, tap once. Whatever it is, measure twice and do it once. And the back, I just did the L brackets that came with it. It came with a pretty simple standard L bracket that you would find with, you know, if you went out and bought L brackets, but they're a little bit longer than your typical L brackets. Of course, that's the one I shortened. What section? There we go. So, sorry. It's not my favorite tripod. An L bracket like this, for instance, this is just an L bend piece of steel, but it's a little bit longer with long holes in it that, you know, like a mill machine to hole out, so that you can adjust it for how far out you need to be. But it worked perfectly, and this it's going in the X direction, so yeah, that's the x-axis. Yeah, that's the x-axis. So the x-axis has an extra 8 inches or so. That's not going to bother me at all, because the chip tray is open there. It's only going into a space that I don't use for anything anyways. I have my drill bit sharpener here, and that's about it. And this is just my tensioning rod. It's a piece of 1/2 inch black steel, but that's the only thing I put there, so it's not going to get in my way. This one is a pain in the neck because of the chip tray, but it is what it is. But if you are, I actually knew it was going to be a little long going the way that I don't mind, and I thought this was going to be accurate because I do have 10 inches of travel. But it's not how many inches of travel, it's how far it actually moves. Anyways, you have to do that research when you order it. So don't order just any one. Make sure you order one that's the right length, and you want to measure like from when your slide is all the way back like this. It's going to be, when I get to there we go. I actually went a little further than where I said 0, because this one I was kind of guessing on too. It's about as far as it goes right there. So another 512 thousandths further. But so then when you go this way, you want to measure it from where it was at your furthest point back to where it goes on your furthest point forward. And that's essentially it, because this is not going to affect how far this goes. So you need to worry about this, because that's the one this is meant for. Unless you want to do it the other way and mount it up here, it's much more difficult. I did have it on there and it was working, and then I read the documentation from the company that made it and watched those videos I was telling you about, and everything said that it should be the other way that I have it now. So that's why I went back and did it the way that I have it now. Do I regret doing that? I will see. I guess we'll see, because I don't know right now. But we're definitely going to find out. I'm definitely going to find out. But also another thing, now that I'm thinking about it, I could put this here and put it. I could set 0 there, and the actual screen is pretty cool. You can reset it very easily. So if I'm doing my X, which is this, so this is my Y on the tool head, I'm going to 0 that out, enter, and then that's my 0 point right there, right? So then once this is tightened up, I can just put this right to the center, and wherever that is from here, then that'll be right where I'm just about to hit the work, and I can set this right at the work at 0 and start working positively from there, you know? So then, oh no, this is going on the Y. Oh, this is I reset. I mean, this is going on the X, not the Y. So the Y is in the back. How is that? Well, I guess it is. So I'm just gonna do that to show you because I have to reset these anyways, but you see how easy it is to reset them. It takes 2 seconds. But so this way I'm working positive from, you know, from flush over here, or roughly flush. A little further. Yeah. So I'll make a point where I know where I'm going to the same point every time, where I can tell visually here other than on the indicator, so I know where the stopping point is. But it's much easier than having to use, like I have this dial indicator here because this just shows me how much fluctuation I'm getting in the tool head, which is very useful. So I definitely, if you guys don't have something like that set up, you probably should, because I like to know how much give I have in the spindle, you know, if any, which it's very, very little on this lathe, which will show you the quality of your lathe really quick. Because if you take a look at that, at the dial indicator there, I'll turn the lathe on and you'll see. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. It's not touching. I just adjusted it. It's barely, you want it to actually be touching. Okay, so let me just move that a little bit. Okay, now, no, it's still not touching. There we go. So I'll just move this to be at the starting point. So it's literally like 5/1000ths of an inch, you know, back and forth just from the rotation, and a lot of that is just vibration because these are so sensitive. So it's actually incredibly smooth. It's a very good operating lathe. It's an M1099 if anybody's interested to know. But they're great lathes for like a gunsmithing size lathe. It doesn't necessarily have to be for gunsmithing, but I use it for a little bit of everything. But this is a great lathe for any kind of metalworking. It's really powerful, and it's a good size. It weighs almost 600 pounds. So looks are deceiving. I don't know how big it looks on the camera, but it's a beast. I had to put it in place with a chain, with one of those chain cranes, and I had to lower it down here with my boom on my machine. So they're heavy. I mean, it's actually, well, no, the CNC machine pallet, before I poured 6 80-pound bags of concrete into it, was like only 300 or 400 pounds more than this. And look at the size of that. It's that whole big black thing. So it's that goes to show you this is solid. It's very solid. And I dedicated this table for it, and I mounted it to it, and the table's mounted to the floor and leveled. So anyways, all that stuff is just things that make your equipment work better. If you're going to be into a precision hobby like this or CNC machining, you have to take the time to make sure things are perfect. Like for instance, with the CNC machine, before I did the concrete and the coplanarity and poured the concrete and all that, I did the leveling feet. I didn't order them from the manufacturer because I knew I could make them on my own. So I made leveling feet, which were in the form of a heavy steel L bracket, which is probably heavier than what they would have included with it because it was something similar to that. You know, it's a big, thick piece of L bend. And I cut it to about, probably about that length. That might be something I was doing with that. I'm not sure what that's from, but could have been. Something similar to that. And then that went to the foot, to the end of the leg, and had long holes in it, so I could slide it up and down for, you know, however much I needed to on each leg. And then I had put something like this digital leveler. So this has your digital level when you have it horizontal, but when you lay it flat, you have both axes. So it's a very handy tool. Something like that, and then, you know, then obviously I had dial indicators on it, and you know, a standard 4-foot level, and every way you could check it, I checked it, and honestly, the amount that I've invested in just measuring equipment since you know, really getting consumed by this hobby in the last few years has been crazy for the measuring equipment. I mean, like dial indicator calipers and the go no go inserts are those go no go inserts are $300 per box I paid, which one of them is 61 thousandths to 250, and then 250 to 500. So that's $600 just in metal pins, but they're precise, they're exact. So if you need a whole 247 thousandths, you can check 246 and 248 and make sure you're exactly where you need to be. And so I mean, it's just you can't do some things right without it. And you know, like I got dial indicator calipers or micrometers that measure interior diameter only, and then other tools that you can put in the inner diameter and then measure that with a micrometer, and then micrometers, and so many things for measurements, but they're all necessary. So this isn't really a hobby, it's kind of like a career, or it needs to be to pay for itself. I'm sure all you guys that have it as a hobby and not a career definitely know what I'm talking about, because it is not an expensive hobby. Neither is 3D printing. I honestly just bought filament that was $370 for half of a kilogram. So like $800 a roll. It's insane. Some of this, when you get into the higher end stuff, which of course I had to, because they're literally using this stuff to do medical implants, replace steel parts. It's insane. So yeah, I had to try it. I mean, it's getting closer to machining. If you can make parts that can replace a steel part, it's pretty impressive. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta go to sleep, but I appreciate you guys. If I left anything out, I apologize. I'm exhausted. This was after a long, hard day's work, and then I did this all night, so I'm tired. I gotta go home and go to bed. But I appreciate anybody who did watch it. If you made it this long, then I give you credit, because I probably have been rambling like a overtired whatever I am right now. Anyways, I appreciate all you guys in general, because I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on my videos, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys that have comments that are even especially actually the constructively criticizing comments, because I want to know the stuff that I'm doing wrong, or that I'm not doing right, because if I don't know it, how could I fix it? You know what I'm saying? So I honestly appreciate those, especially the people who say it without being an asshole. Excuse my language, but you know, some people just say it like an asshole, and it's because they are an asshole, because they wouldn't say it that way otherwise. I try to be kind, especially to people I don't know. Well, that's not true. To everyone, really, that deserves it. And I don't know who deserves it unless I know the person well enough to know they don't. And it's very few people I know that well that I don't treat that way, because generally people are good at heart. I mean, there's a lot of bad ones out there, but I tend to stay away from them without even trying, because I just don't gravitate towards negativity. But anyways, I appreciate all you guys. You know, the amount of subscribers has gone up tremendously in a short time. I mean, it's not very high compared to these other guys, but to me, it's a lot of people. It's almost 1,000 people. So that's a lot of people, and I appreciate all you guys. I never once asked for somebody to subscribe or like my videos, and the fact that you guys still do is awesome. You guys rock. I appreciate you, really. I mean, I'm humbled. I'm really humbled. I was humble already, so I'm even more humbled. I appreciate all you guys, genuinely. All right, so I'll keep the reviews coming, and the shooting videos. I'm gonna finish that other shooting video where I actually have to go back here to clean this stuff up. I was gonna put the camera away, but I kind of want to show you this. The other video that I'm splitting bullets. I'm shooting this lawnmower blade that I sharpened, and I welded a couple brackets onto it. So I guess it relates to machining. I welded a couple brackets onto it, and I screwed it into this sawhorse, this wooden sawhorse that I have in the bullet trap over here. And I'm shooting this blade, splitting the bullet, and then hitting 2 targets. So this is a lawnmower blade, obviously. But this part up here, I just sharpened. You know, you see it's fresh metal. I just sharpened that all the way to there. So from here to here is all sharp, and that's where I'm going to be hitting. Yeah, it's nice and sharp. So I've already done a couple of shots successfully and split the bullet and hit both targets. I'm trying to get it to where I can do it accurately, because it's kind of unpredictable where it's going to hit. But I'm going to put a target on each side and show you guys, but that video is coming up. I already did do that, but I'm going to put a bigger target and do more shooting, and I'm going to put some other stuff other than a target and try to hit that. We'll see how accurate I can get it with the bullet splitting. You know, obviously it won't be 100% consistent, because as soon as you hit the blade a different way, it's going to do it differently. But we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned. But anyways, have a good night, guys. I appreciate all of you, genuinely. I really do. All right, have a good night, guys.